There is not any one place in the world where a Black person hasn't been, or lived, or experienced, even if the country itself may seem unwelcoming. And even though obviously there's a short list of places I don't want to go, I don't find these places disposable, as I don't find the people within them disposable, particularly the minoritized groups. And they're always the best part of my trips.
Please watch the original creator's video because she is extremely spot on. Thankfully, due to social media, we have a lot of Black folks who are traveling to different countries, and they're reporting back on how they were treated based on the fact that they were Black. This is extremely helpful. I watch all of them and I save them because there are places that I am now reconsidering when it comes to the places I want to travel. But because anti-Blackness is real and tourism and media tries to erase Black people globally, it's very hard for Black people to know if there are other Black folks in different parts of the country, and this is very deliberate. And I would say that this applies to all people of color, right? So that's me. I went on a solo trip to London, Paris, and Amsterdam. In this video, I'm going to really cover my experience in London and Amsterdam because Paris deserves a whole other video if people are interested. And that's me in Amsterdam. This is 2017, by the way. So when I went to London, I decided to go to the city of a guy that I met in New York City. And yes, he was Black. I decided to stay in a cheap motel in Hackney. My Uber driver was from Transylvania, but he was explaining to me that the location that I was going to was like not the best depiction of London. And, you know, it's not really a great area. And I was a little confused when we got there because the place looked great to me. But he said this because the entire area was Black and brown, right? It reminded me of like an area in Brooklyn or, I don't know, North Jersey. This is a hip hop club that I went to in Hackney, but as you can see, there are plenty of Black folks here. And I made so many friends out there. All of the people that I really became friends with in London were Black. And I never had fish and chips. I had Malaysian food. I had fried chicken. Nando's, of course, Nando's is very infamous in London, in the UK. And I also learned from the Black people in London, especially since I stayed in Hackney, that Hackney was being gentrified, very similar to what's going on in the US. And that's not really a big discussion point when we hear things about, I don't know, international news, right? And in Amsterdam, same deal. All of the locals that I became friends with were Black. They were actually from a country called Suriname, and it is in South America. They do speak Dutch in Suriname, of course, because of colonization. They took me to a restaurant that I believe served something like an Indonesian mix of food, but they told me that that was the food they ate in Suriname. It was also the first time I had Ethiopian food. The first time I had Ethiopian food was in Amsterdam. I even learned about some of the racial issues that they go through as Black people in Amsterdam. I forgot the name of this character, but if you know the story, there's like a Christmas elf that is Black, I guess from some ancient folklore, and the people in Amsterdam do put on blackface during that, I guess, around Christmas, that time of year, and it's very disruptive. I had a tour guide just talk about it very briefly, but she said Black Americans were the ones to be like upset about it. But I learned from the locals that no, that's not true. The Black people in Amsterdam do not like that. I made this video because I implore Black people to travel, but I also want Black people and people of color to know that we exist everywhere. I think it's extremely deliberate for depictions of different countries to erase Black people especially and people of color as a whole. I can get into a whole other video on Colombia. I will probably do a Colombia video because that opened my eyes to Afro-Latina people and their existence and how much they are erased from our world. But yeah, I hope this video helps. I will do a part 2 if it's needed, but I know this is already long, so.